and like the thing that kind of captured my attention a lot is like what you said about first about this coincidence of starting to dance and bam, and then suddenly going to the army. This kind of sharp, let's say, kind of reality confrontation. You're still in Israel. It's like you have your country calls you, and you have to kind of deal with that. And I experienced something similar, but with a different elements. I kind of discovered traveling before the army. I flew to Thailand when I was 18, and I started to realize, wow, there's a whole world out there that I can experience. And then, I had to go to the army. And I had this kind of inner calling of like, why am I here? There is so many places I can be actually. And I had this kind of internal conflict. And then when you describe this scene of like kind of taking the uniform and putting the rifle and changing your like, to a dance pants and going into the dance, this is some transition that I can really identify on a kind of from the bird's eye perspective, because I wasn't engaged in any professional dance or like dancing in the studio while I was in the army, but it was somehow something that accompanied me when I finished the army. And part of taking out the uniform was also eventually kind of to start wearing the dance outfit and to go through this transition. And I think that it's massive because it's like, it's a huge look on the identity, and also like, we both grew up in Israel, which is still nowadays a land of conflict. And the dancer body and the soldier body, they have different sensitivities. But yet, within this, you went and study in a very, very challenging environment. And in the school that you study in, Naomi Perlov in Tel Aviv, I also wanted to follow your steps, and I went to do an audition there. And I didn't get accepted. And I was kicked in the first round, and it was a really strong hit to my ego, because I was like kind of following your story, and I said like, cool, yeah, I'm confident, I have good presence, they will for sure take me. And then they kicked me in the first round, and I was like, wow, what's going to happen now? And then I got accepted to a school in Europe, and that's kind of maybe why I'm here now in Vienna and not in Israel. But I then managed to come back and visit this school, and after I finished my education, I came back to Israel, and I was teaching a workshop in the school where you were studying. And I was also participating in some kind of performance project, and I've seen the attitude of Naomi, the director, and I was thinking like, wow, she's like so sharp and clear and tough with the student, that it's almost like like a military training.
Yeah, very much, very much.
And that's a very interesting connection, like this. That on one hand, like, the purpose is completely opposite, like, from self-expression and beauty into like, like self-preservation and war and conquest. But on the body level, like, we are treating the body sometimes so similar. Like also in the army, you would drill movements repetitively in order to get them into your body. I still remember this movement that you would stand, and then the officer will shout "Pazatsta," and you would have to drop into the ground, like, and just protect yourself. And it's like a movement. You would tell me to me now, I can do it in an instinct, I think. So how do you see this? Like, where is the space in between of this kind of, let's say, dense militarization that enables you to still feel there free? Or like, I don't know if you can resonate with these ideas, but what do you think about it?
Wow, that's a super interesting topic you brought. Really inspiring to hear this direction of thought. How can I dance in the army? It's like we are just moving from one life frame to the other. The scenery is changing. The kind of actions we are needing to do is different, and the composition is different. But this quality or this memory to dance is to is a way of communication. It's a state of mind. I felt in the army, where I was, in many aspects, I was dancing. The kind of field, the kind of direction I took as a medic, and later on in charge of a clinic in the paratroops unit, and needing also to be in charge of a group of other soldiers. The dialogue, whether it is verbally or whether it is, through my actions, there is some kind of dance into it. And so it's some kind of a spirit that I feel has the same kind of a imprint in the soul while I'm in the army and while I'm dancing as a student for Nomi Perlov. So I felt for myself that Nomi Perlov is giving, although from a perspective from outside, or from a look from outside, it of course it could seem, and I can laugh about it. It was an army of dance. It was like being in the army in many ways, but in other words, it's a very tight structure. The structure is very, very tight. And my question as a dancer, as a human being that enjoy dancing, how can I find freedom and movement in a very, very, very tight structure? And so I took it as a challenge. I wasn't like, this is not for me, and I don't like the attitude, and not in the army, and not dancing, and in the Maslul training program, where I also encountered a lot of, challenges and difficulties in relation to my progress, and to myself, and to how I perceive myself as a dancer. You can't help comparing yourself to others when you see others and they dance so beautifully, and where you are in relation to that. Also other men, of course. But it was so challenging, tight structure of counts, of different language of movements, like Barak Marshall or Preljocage, which I remember from the Maslul training program, or Nacho Duato, and other kinds, Idan Sharabi, I remember as well, Yossi Berg, Voded Graf. Not only tight structure, like every structure is very, very specific, I also need to be very capable to change, like in the next hour and a half, to something completely else sometimes, to another very tight structure, and to really find how I can find my freedom and my way in it. And the same state of mind, the same question, or the same being I had as a soldier in the army, not judging the army while being there. We don't need an army and all the politics and the things around it, and like I just want to rebel and I don't want to be here. I just, this is in some ways the reality of living in Israel. And of course, we could open it up. I don't think it's relevant for now. Yes or no, an army for Israel, especially in that ages. But that was my reality, and I decided not to fight it, but to find a way to find my freedom in it and my voice in it and what I can do to not only focus on my self-growth, but how I can help others as well. And therefore, I became a medic. So I have a very inspiring memory from that. And again, like I said, it's the same state of mind, studying a very tight structure like a classical dance or all kind of movement languages of different choreographers, and under the rehearsal management of Nomi Perlov, that everything, it needs to be very tight, and also if you don't do it as accurate or in the color of how the choreographer would like, you might not perform it. So also the sense of competition was there, or the wish to, this ambition or the strive to, I really want to perform it. If I didn't get it, if I would not perform it, or if I wouldn't be the first class or second class, it's not obvious. It's also something, that wasn't easy to digest. But it's what it was. And I chose to be there. So I wasn't a victim of anything. I just here I am. That's the reality. And I was just, how can I take the best out of it? And I feel the most inspiring thing, maybe one of the most inspiring things I took, was to find freedom in a very, very tight structure.
If you want to see more precious and insightful moments, make sure to check our short clips playlist. To see longer interviews, check out the full episode playlist just below it. And to be notified for all future videos, click the subscribe button and don't forget to hit the notification bell. See you on the next episode.